had to travel across the country to be here for a stupid court case that could have already been dealt with, except they want to just mess around and waste my time. Just in order to racially discriminate against me, because I was born white, and they are anti-white, and they hate us for being white. If I was Aboriginal instead of white, and if it was instead of my sword being stolen from me, my property that I have rights to own and carry in public, if instead of that, my property being stolen from me as a white man, it was me as a black man having my property stolen from me. Cultural, sacred items like didgeridoos and boomerangs. And then, when, as an Aboriginal man, I spoke up against that and said, no, how dare you steal my property and take away my human rights? They emptied the courtroom so nobody would have sympathy, so that they could abuse me as a victim on the basis of my race. Every time I have a court case, I represent myself, and every single time, the judge panics. They have to empty the room so there's no witnesses, because when there's people in the room, and I stand up and represent myself, everyone in that room agrees with me. And just now in court, the judge asked me a question about my case, and I start explaining and start answering that direct question he just asked me, and then he cuts me off after 2 words and says, "That's it, get out, go out, we'll do your court case later then." Just to waste my time. So it's like, it was brought up, the fact that the only reason I'm even here today is because my time is being wasted. It's just so the courts waste my time. Right? The only reason I'm here. And then he proves me 100% correct and wastes my time when I'm literally just answering the question he asked me. This whole system is a joke. It's ridiculous. Treated like a criminal because my human rights have been taken away from me. My human rights, yet still I'm treated like a criminal. Everyone in that room agrees with me and is enlivened by the passionate underdog standing up against the tyrannical system which is taking away our rights. So they empty the room so they can treat me as a victim, abuse me, discriminate against me without any witnesses. Because every time they take me to court, they look like absolute scum, and I look like an innocent victim being abused, discriminated against on the basis of my race. Next time I go back, I'm going to make sure I have some media there. I'm going to invite friends. We're going to fill the room. Or, even better, I'm going to go on the run, and then they can hunt me down so it becomes national news. And then there'll be cameras in the room when I'm in the room. But either way, next time I'm in a courtroom, it's going to be publicised. I'm not going to let them empty the room and discriminate, because I was convicted and I was given with a bogus conviction, a false conviction, corrupt. It was kangaroo court in Ipswich courts. False conviction, all right? And I was able to prove that it was a false conviction, that they didn't even put it through the system properly. Because they gave me, as my sentence, a year of community service. And do you know what I did? Didn't do anything. I didn't do any community service. And I just said, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to serve the punishment. I'm not going to do the community service. They don't care, because they know it's kangaroo court. And if they try to put me around for not doing the community service, that's going to expose that it was a corrupt conviction. This following clip you're about to see is of my court case just went through, and why we need to publicise the next time I'm in a courtroom. Welcome in, Sam, from my first appearance in regards to the charges around cannabis. I just want to plead guilty. Okay. I've been wanting to plead guilty from the get-go. All right. And it's just been...
What about the knife charge?
Obviously not guilty, and...
Well, it's not obvious to me, but...
Because you can even see there was no knife, it was a sword. Cool. And under Queensland legislation, swords come under a completely different criminal code than knives. So I don't even know why they gave me a charge in regards to a knife when there was no knife involved in the matter.
All right, well, if you're not pleading guilty to the second charge,
I was told it was going to be dropped because it was a bogus charge. It was a sword. They should have looked at legislation. And was no knife in the matter. So how can I have a charge for a knife in public when there's no knife in the matter?
have you tried to see the duty lawyer today?
No.
Well, they might be able to give you advice about those things. As tempted as I might be to comment on what you said, I'm not your lawyer, so I won't. But you're entitled to legal advice. The first time you appeared, you were representing yourself.
Yeah. I've read all the legislation around knives and swords. I've been a sword collector most of my life. I come under antiques and things, so I'm allowed to have them in public.
There's a couple of ways this can go, all right? You can have an adjournment so that you can actually seek some legal advice, including potentially from the duty lawyer.
I don't need any legal. Like I said, I've read all the legislation myself. I've been a sword collector my entire life.
The brief was ordered at the last mention, so did you just deliver the brief?
Yes, Your Honour. An email was sent advising it was available for collection, but I've just provided it to Mr. Foster now.
I know I'm allowed to. I'm been homeless majority of my life too, since I was 15. So I always have knives on me.
Right. Well, it seems to me what we're doing is setting...
And that's one of the exemptions. I'm allowed to have knives in public.
I think what we're doing
I'm allowed
is
to carry my
setting-
swords in public.
I think what I'm doing today is setting the knife charge down for a hearing.
Yeah, that'd be good. And then we can get this other one out of the way. And just give me
You can be convention at the hearing, and if you're convicted of the knife charge, you can be sentenced for them both. If you're found not guilty of the knife charge, you can be sentenced then for the drug charge.
Can't I just be sentenced today for the drug charge? Get that one out of the way?
Well,
Because the other one's most likely going to be thrown out anyway. So might as well get the serious charge dealt with.
Sorry, my instructions are, Your Honour, that the matter is proceeding. I have some independent knowledge of this matter, and I understand the submissions that are being made by Mr. Foster, but in any event, the prosecution will continue.
how long do you think the trial will take for the knife charge?
Your Honour, maybe only a couple of hours.
All right.
Going to be in and out, yeah. Be similar to when I was charged for arson back in the day for lighting a cigarette.
Well, don't tell me that.
I'm always a victim of this type of discrimination. I'm used to it.
If the hearing comes on before me, I don't want you to have told me anything about any previous convictions or charges. All right?
No, there's no conviction. It was thrown out. The judge laughed about it and threw it out. And I'm just saying, this continuous thing happened throughout my life. I get these bogus charges like knife in public or arson when I lit a cigarette, or when I have my sword, which is a collector's item. I have all rights under Queensland law to carry around in public. I go to medieval events. I dress up in my chainmail with my swords and stuff. Like we catch the train to the city with our swords. Like that's a normal thing we do. So I understand it's going to get thrown out. It's been happening since I was 16. I keep getting these bogus charges, getting harassed. And as you can see, when it's a serious charge, like, I definitely was found with a bomb. That's a charge. I can admit I'm guilty. Even though the law is the crime in that regard, I'm still not a criminal because I smoke cannabis. It's actually my human right. It's been taken away from me by a tyrannical government. A lot of countries in the world now, they've legalised it completely, even recreationally. The other thing too, in some places you actually get a discount on your car insurance if you drive stoned, because you're actually a safer driver, and it's been proven with the studies. Companies save money, so they'll rather you be a stoner and they'll have you, they'd rather you give your car insurance because you're a stoner. So, it's a joke. It's been going on my whole life.
What I'll say is that this is why I'm glad the gallery is now empty, so that everyone else is listening to what...
It's always done as well whenever my cases come up, because everyone in the gallery agrees with me and thinks, well, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's legit. Why is this system f***ing him around?
And I will say, do not,
He's not even a criminal. He's just a hippie dude that smokes cannabis.
I'm trying to find a date in the diary of this new trial. Do not swear in the courtroom.
I'm not even sure I did swear. I'm sorry if I did. Might have misheard. I'm pretty sure I didn't
I
swear.
heard you clearly, as I'm sure the Senior Sergeant McDonald and
Yes,
my
Your Honour.
court services officer. I've listened to your ranting, I'm finding a date for your trial. I'd prefer it if you were silent, but if you are compulsively talking, refrain from the profanity, please.
I apologise.
Have some humility.
No, I have plenty.
You've displayed none at all today.
Oh, I think I've displayed heaps. Literally an innocent citizen who has done nothing wrong. I haven't harmed anyone. I haven't caused any loss to anyone. I haven't committed any crime. I've simply upheld my own God-given human right. It's a God-given right. But I'm just being discriminated against because I'm white man. Because I'm white. That's it. Any excuse to just abuse me constantly because I happen to be white.
Have some humility.
No, I have plenty.
You've displayed none at all today.
Oh, I think I've displayed heaps.
You've attempted to make yourself the centre of attention at every opportunity. Have some
It's my case.
Have some dignity and some humility. Now sit down while I find a trial date for you.
Been extremely dignified, you know. Sorry if you can't see that. Like I said, the gallery agreed with me that I have been. That's why you like to empty the room. Because they disagree with you and agree with me. And they see me as a victim and you as an abuser. You wanted them all out so you could abuse me, discriminate against me without witnesses. As an innocent victim of tyranny, I shouldn't even have to be here. I'm not a criminal. And I have every right to speak in my defence. The fact that I'm a victim of racial discrimination in this matter makes it even worse. If I was an Aboriginal man with a spear, nobody would have taken it and gave me a bogus
Mr.
charge.
Foster, stand up, please.
But it's because I'm white, I'm being discriminated against on the basis of my race.
You're remanded to appear in court 7 at 9 a.m. on the 10th of November 2022 for your hearing and for the mention of the first charge. You're on bail. Your bail's enlarged.
Thank you.
Being constantly spoken down to. I was being spoken to as if I was less than. Speaking, when I was upholding my human right, my constitutional right as an Australian citizen, to speak in my own defence in my own court case. That was slandered. That human right, that constitutional right, to have your own defence in your own court case. Okay? To not just be instantly sentenced as guilty and you don't get a say. You don't get to nothing. You just, no evidence, nothing. You just go to the dungeon. Okay? Like a slave. Because I dared uphold my human right to speak in my own defence. That was slandered as ranting. What a disgusting individual. A disgusting human being. Who I will still recognise the humanity and that he is a human being with human rights, even though he wants to strip away my human rights and treat me as less than human. In that room, there was one criminal, and it wasn't me.